Kamame dume hipime kametapang. Ichitang batitang dumhang hipame wasami chatu. Sape vorento sangapa. Janto banaraso yata manicho diraso yata. Sapitio viwachantu. Saparoko vinasatu mate bhavat. Vantarayo sukhiti kayuko bhava avivatanasi lisa nityang vatapachayino chattaro dhamma vatanti ayuvanno sukhang bhalang.
Paul, would you be open to offering a few reflections on this occasion?
So the winter's retreat is now ended officially with this ceremony. And of course, to reflect on the fact that these words like retreat, winter's retreat, wasa or pansa, these are words that we use to designate these particular events during the year. And then the question is, what should we do after the retreat? How do we meditate? Somebody asked me this morning, how many hours should I sit? And things like this. So there's always, like after retreat, there's always this, in just a 10-day retreat, how do I integrate mindfulness into daily life? Because we think of, just notice how we see retreats as where we can be mindful, or, we feel that outside of a retreat we really can't do it. Because in daily life. There's so many things, duties, responsibilities, people we have to talk to, business to be done, work to be done, and so forth, so that we don't have to do during an organized retreat period. But mindfulness isn't something designated for retreats. If we're mindful, it's a survival mechanism. It's basic nature. It's not something we develop, especially during retreat periods or meditation periods. But even the word meditation becomes something we do. It's something we practice. We practice meditation. And just be aware of this sense of having to do something or practice or sit so many hours and meditate is a condition of the mind. This sense of having to do something is very, I found in my own experience, just observing my own mind, how compulsive I used to be about meditating. I have to sit so many hours a day, I have to meditate. And then when I don't keep up with my designated routine, I feel guilty, I'm not meditating, not getting anywhere. These are all states of mind that we create into the present moment. Well, whether you're on retreat or not on retreat, you're mindful. Mindfulness isn't something special for retreats, or we don't practice mindfulness. How do you practice mindfulness? And because mindfulness is our nature, you don't have to practice being conscious, because you are conscious. So consciousness, mindfulness, awareness, whatever words you want, English words, Pali equivalents, or whatever are, words that are created by human beings, they're artificial. And so this is why I encourage you to really trust this awareness, no matter what you're feeling. You're feeling guilty, you're feeling bored, you're feeling fed up, you're feeling you can't meditate. They're all states of mind that you create that you can be aware of. And we use this simple phrase, it's like this. So this, like this statement, this like this, is, notice I mentioned this many times, it's not a judgment. It's not saying what should or shouldn't, how you should be or shouldn't be or do or not do. It's because at this moment you didn't particularly choose the way you're feeling at this very moment, but you're aware of it. You feel like this. So that's awareness. The mood changes. You don't always feel like this that you're feeling right now. It changes according to other conditions. So, in Wat Pa Pong, I used to always, wanted to, I've always found work, something kind of getting in my way of my mindfulness practice. I had so many set views and ideas about practice and what I had to have. And I ended up, feeling fed up or frustrated by the core wat, by the routine of the monastery, by the duties of a junior monk and so forth. And I began to wake up to the fact of these are mental states that I create. And so this is like awakening to the way it is. It's not anything that mystical or refined, but it's natural. So naturally you're going to feel the way you do right now. We can't help it. The way we are individually, our personalities, our conditioning, it's all different, so we have to bear with the way we are, the way we're conditioned, the way our habits manifest. But we can be aware of them in terms of they arise and cease. They're sankharas, they're forms, they're conditions, they depend on other conditions. But what isn't conditioned, which has no form, is consciousness, awareness. And that's what you trust. Your feelings can change according to so many other conditions that take place in life. Like I remember I was a Krishnamurti enthusiast when I was a graduate student before I ordained, when I was in Berkeley. And he always, I would take one of his books with me wherever I went, go to a coffee shop, order a cup of coffee, light a cigarette, and read Krishnamurti. And that was my kind of treat for the day. And of course he said, you don't have to meditate. And I thought, what do you do? And he just said, be aware and awake. And I tried to practice being aware and awake. It didn't work. When I ordained in the Theravada tradition with Luang Por Chah, then it gave me, something to hold on to, like anapanasati, body contemplation, then something to do in the present moment, something I needed to do that seemed to help, because just the idea of not meditating and just being awake and aware was beyond my understanding. So the emphasis in Wat Pa Pong, Luang Por Chah made, was on what they call the core wat of the routine of the monastery, the Vinaya. We did, being aware of how we create problems with work, with relationships with each other. We endlessly, we don't agree. We have our own righteous views, and others that don't agree with us, we feel very frustrated or angry or upset by, because we're not aware. We're not using wisdom with awareness. When we're angry with somebody, we know. You know you're angry, but out of ignorance, you claim it as some kind of personal ownership. You own it. You own the conditions that you're experiencing. They become me. My anger problem, my lust problem, my relationship problem. And so the difference between ignorance and wisdom is not defining things as personal. It's not personal. Anger that arises is like this. Don't say it's my anger or start blaming other people for it. But just receive it. It's like this, and allow it to be. It ceases. And this is how to practice in daily life, wherever you are, whether you're, in sitting, standing, walking, lying down, on a retreat, and outside of a retreat, and in work, and meetings. But when we've got an agenda, I found in religion, one of the great problems of any religion is righteousness. I'm right, and if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. And because I'm right, everybody should do what I suggest, what I say, because I'm right. And so I'm very attached to being right. Like everybody should keep the sila. I'm absolutely right. Everybody should conform to the Vinaya. I'm absolutely right. Everybody should be on time. I'm right. Everybody should be on time, should be, not keep others waiting. We should respect each other. Of course, I'm right. We're all samanas. We're learning to respect and not look down on others, not feel arrogant, not feel better, not feel worse. And I'm right. But it's not right, it's just it's a function of the intellect. Right and wrong are intellectual concepts. You're not born with intellectual concepts. They're artificial. You acquire them after you're born. Your mother tells you this is right and that's wrong, and so, the society, the social conditions you identified with define what's right and wrong, what's proper, what's improper. But we're getting back to the reality of here and now, which is not about right and wrong, but it's like this. So in this sense of it's like this is opening wide and relaxing. It's not something you do in the sense of having to do it, but it's the sense of relaxing, being here and now, just learning to trust in this kind of wide spectrum of awareness, whatever might arise and cease in it, whether it's emotions, memories, thoughts, or doubts, or worries, or confusion, or feeling of being right, or being wrong, or being guilty. It all belongs. Those are all conditions that arise and cease. So I offer this as a reflection.
dittiyo vivajantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavattvantarayo sukhidikayuko bhava amdiva dhanasirisa niccang buddhapachayino Chattaro Dhamma vadanti ayuvano sukhang bhalang. If I may offer a few reflections, I don't have a lot more to add to what Luang Por had to say. Just really to echo that same spirit of embodying mindfulness rather than making it a thing that we do. As people are aware, when the routine changes and then we acquire different responsibilities, different activities, just as Luang Por was saying, we take on these roles, we start to say judge each other or get identified with I want to be this in this particular role, I don't want to be in that role, or I approve of this person having this Sangha office and I don't approve of that person having that Sangha office. It's very easy for those kind of perceptions to seem extraordinarily real and solid, and for the mind to be creating each other. And so in terms of embodying that quality of mindfulness, and then to be aware of that. We can't just snap our fingers and say, I will no longer create myself or other people. It's not a matter of just having the idea of it, but it's an ongoing, observation, seeing how the mind does that, and making that choice not to believe in those judgments as something so absolute or so concrete or so final. The word meditation, interestingly enough, it comes from a root meaning to measure. So it's rather than a particular set of practices, I feel it's to do with knowing the balance of things, so knowing the measure of all things, as it is said. So that way we can bring our quality of awareness to each moment, to the present reality, and using our intuitive wisdom to feel that quality of balance. It's not an idea, it's not a concept, like riding a bicycle is not a concept. It's a mode of, it's a whole body process, it's a mode of being. And so that I feel that if we are, living here together skillfully, if we're aiming to use our lives in the best way, then moment by moment we embody that quality of balance, that sense of knowing the measure of things, what is called in Pali matanyuta, knowing the right amount, when it's time to speak up, when it's time to be quiet, when it's time to be active, when it's time to be still. And that again can't be done from a program or a concept, an idea, but it's an attunement of the heart moment by moment to who we're with, what's going on, what is, most helpful in the present moment. So I will offer these thoughts for consideration today. So we will finish with the closing homage, and that'll be the end of the ceremonies for finishing the winter retreat time.
Buddham Bhagavantam Aviva
You may pay our respects once more, Lord.
Shall we pay respect to Ajahn?